To answer your question, and for the benefit of the other members of the committee, what Representative Snyder is referring to is, you know, right now we have a mechanism for a certifying physician. If they feel that the supply limit to their patient, they have an exceptional case, it's not enough, and you can pick any scenario that this could fall under. They have the ability to petition the Department of Health to request an exception to the dosage limits or supply caps based on the medical needs of their patient. Now, you may be tempted to think, okay, this is a really intense regulatory burden for a physician to apply to DOH and get a waiver signed. But what the law says is DOH has 14 days to respond to that request, and if DOH fails to respond, the request is granted. I think that's about as streamlined as you can get in government for asking for and receiving a waiver from DOH. But right now, no one is using that waiver process because there's simply no dosage limits. There's no caps at all. So there is no circumstance that I could envision that you would need to ask for that, because you have unlimited potency and unlimited supplies, with the exception of some caps we put on edibles when we implemented this law. So no one is currently using that. I think if this bill should become law and we put these potency limits and dosage supply limits into law, we would have a better way to gauge after a year if in fact anyone is using that, if doctors feel that the supply limits are not sufficient to treat their patients, or if they are using it and how effective it is and how often they're using it. So right now, no one's using the waiver. They don't need to. There's no supply limits.
Thank you for letting me speak today. As an owner of a medical cannabis clinic here in Tallahassee, I can assure you the majority of recommending physicians are not abusing the system to get rich. Restricting our ability to advertise would be devastating to my small business and will reduce the Floridians' access to plant medicine and the proper education for responsible use. More importantly, as a parent of a pediatric patient, I want to remind you that we often choose medical cannabis, as a last resort. Restricting my son and other children's access and potency will add insurmountable costs to families and drive them back to unsuccessful, harmful pharmaceuticals that they've been so desperately trying to get away from. In response to Representative Roach's statement regarding the average daily dose being 175 milligrams per day versus outliers being at over 1,000 milligrams per day, I want to clarify that 175 milligrams is the average daily per route. And it is only a recommendation. It does not mean patients are using the maximum recommended allotment. There are limits, dosing limits, to flower. That waiver program has not been implemented, and if the waiver is for severely ill or terminal patients, they should not have to wait 14 days. I ask you please to vote no on this bill. Thank you.